Hey.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, our esteemed viewers. Welcome to the Confab on Esteemed Radio Vision. We are located at Ohunayo Avenue in Elisha, Osun State, Nigeria. This is a space where we go beyond the headlines to interrogate issues shaping our society, our homes, our politics, and our public institutions. On today's edition of the Confab, we begin in Oyo State, where a family has been torn apart by a horrific case of domestic violence. A marriage that was once marked by years of abuse ended in an acid attack that claimed the lives of both husband and wife, leaving behind children living with sickle cell disease and facing an uncertain future. It compels us to ask, how long do we treat domestic violence as a private matter before it becomes a collective failure? We then turn to the political arena, where a federal minister has won the ruling APC against altering its Muslim ticket ahead of the 2027 elections. Is this a realistic reading of Nigeria's political landscape, or a further evidence that, identity politics continues to outweigh governance and performance? And finally, to the power sector, where the federal government has declared that prepaid electricity meters must now be installed free of charge for all Nigerians. That sounds like good news. While consumers welcome the announcement, electricity distribution companies are pushing it back, questioning the practicality of the policy. So the question remains, who truly pays for free meters? And will this finally bring an end to estimated billing? These are the conversations that matter on the Confab today. So this is the Confab, and we'll break it down next. I am Chidima Abel, and I won't be doing this alone. I have my analyst in the studio in the presence of Ohunayo, Ajiboye. Ohunayo, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Chidima.
And also Oluwatoyosi, Solanke. Good morning.
Good morning, Chidima. Thank you for having me.
All right, how are you two doing this morning?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, let's just move ahead to the very first story. I've already, spread it the way you will understand. But then let's now go deep into it one after the other. The very first story is saying, Oyo acid attack. Husband, wife dead. Children struggle for survival. Oyo acid attack. Husband and wife already down, already dead. Now their children are struggling for survival. Now, a case of prolonged domestic violence ended in tragedy in Akufo, Ido local government area, after a 49-year-old husband allegedly poured acid on his 44-year-old wife before ingesting the same substance into himself. Both died, leaving their 3 surviving children who suffer from sickle cell disorder in urgent need of care. Coming to you, Solanke, I would really like you to, comment on this. What's your thoughts on this? The man killed his wife and then later ingested himself with the same substance, and then thereafter died, leaving the 3 children who are, sickle cell anemic.
Yeah. I would love to ask the first question, that what have they been doing since all this while? Like, the domestic violence has been on for too long. I don't see a crime whereby they can actually go their separate ways, and assuming they've gone their separate ways, they might still be alive till today. Though the society actually castigates divorce or thing, but if that's the only solution to just keep everyone safe and sound, I guess it's better that way.
Okay, you believe?
And I actually blame the community and the family members. It has been consistent. It has been going on for so long, repeatedly. So any case, like a case like that has been repeated and it's quite dangerous, why didn't they intervene?
Okay, now before I come to Ohunayo Ajiboye, you said something. You said you blame the community
and the family
and the extended family.
Yes.
Now, why do you blame them? What do you think in that situation? What the family could have done, or the community? Because you talked about divorce or separation.
Yes.
Do you think the family has the right, the legal right, or the community, they have the legal right to separate them, or to,
They don't have the legal right to separate them.
Exactly.
I would
So
like
what do you
to
think they should have
expatiate
done?
on that.
Okay.
Firstly, let's take a look at their compatibility. The 2 couples were AS. Why they gave birth to 6
children.
children that were SS. The first thing I would like to say is, should I say the two of them are not in the know that they are not compatible? Even if they are ignorant of that fact, what happened to the family member coming in and saying, wife, you are AS, and the husband, you are also AS? They might not know. But what about the community, the family members coming to intervene? Let's just assume they do not know. Yeah, the community, why I blame the community, is not as if the community actually has the power to separate the family or the marriage. But then I feel like if they had actually intervened to some extent whereby they can actually advise the husband or the wife that this consistent fight and all can actually come to an end if you two feel like you're not getting it again. The love, the love might have actually expired maybe to them. Love has an expiring date to them. Then they can actually go their separate ways, because you agree with me that the community would have been there. They witnessed the various altercation that has been going on among them. So why can't the family step in and the community as a whole can actually call law enforcing agency to them that this couple have been going on and on about domestic violence, and they can actually talk to the couple that, have you ever considered going your separate ways? Maybe there will be peace.
Okay, and now I got your point. But we wouldn't know if the family must have tried, because there are every possibility that this couple never wanted to go their separate ways, just like you suggested. Maybe the families have even intervened and they said, no, we are not separating. We wouldn't know.
From what I read, it seems the community and the family didn't intervene, because the younger sister of the wife said that it has been happening for so long. The question is, when you know that, what have you been doing?
All right, let me come to Ohunayo, Ajiboye. Do you agree with this? Like, what do you have to say with this whole scenario?
The first thing that I want to say is that this is a tragedy. And it's not something that anyone would wish to witness in their family or would want to happen to someone else. So from the side of empathy, you can see that the way I don't like seeing terrible news like this. I want people to always have good news. Nigeria is tough enough on the poor.
It's tough enough.
So, and one of these, domestic violence, is it's a sad thing in marriages that when a man is frustrated, because from the story you will discover that it's all just frustration that caused this. You see, he's frustrated, he does not have any way of expressing his anger or his frustrations, and he decides to take it out on his wife.
His wife and
himself. No, yes. On the wife first, because the domestic violence thing has been going on for a long time. So before this tragedy happened, there was already a tragedy. The tragedy did not just suddenly happen. It's not sudden. It has been a long time in the making. So he was frustrated, I guess. And then the fact that they had 6 children, 3 died due to, what's the name?
Sickle
cell anemia. Now, he said that they didn't know that they were carriers of the sickle cell, and, and I know a lot of people might question and say, didn't they go for testing? Well, one of the problems we faced in Nigeria. For example, I faced something when I was to travel out to Togo. I did, I already have my normal blood work and everything. And my blood work that was done when I was born said, I'm AA. Now, I wanted to travel out and, they requested for a fresh blood test, everything, drug test and everything. And now what I was getting was, I'm AS. And I called my parents and I said, this is what this result is telling me. And my mom said, that's not possible now. Your mother is AA, your father is AA, you're all AA in the family. So how can you be AS? Unless I mutated. So I had to get the third option. And lo and behold, the third result came out, AA. What could have happened to my result that said AS?
It's a very good one.
So there's every possibility that there's always a mix-up. Look, our health workers, some of them, yes, they are terrible people. They try to cut corners. But the truth of the matter is many of them are overworked and underpaid. And so I'm just giving scenarios.
I'm laying the frustration.
I'm laying a lot of things on what could have happened to cause this tragedy, because the tragedy doesn't just occur. There's a lot of factors. And that's what we're here to talk about, these factors, because it's when we know these factors, you see, when we talk about, men should stop beating their wives, this, it is part of it, but it's like the symptom of a greater disease. We have to deal with the disease itself.
The roots.
Not the symptom. Now, you look at all the problems that contributed. Now they are married. They are both sickle cell carriers. They give birth to sickle cell children. I'm sure poverty is part of the problem. The man didn't have a good job or he can't provide for his family. All these kind of things leads to frustration. Now, we now come to the community. Back in the days, I used to say that in the community, you know, there's an adage that will say it takes a village to raise a child.
A child, yes.
So it takes a community to raise a man that will take out his frustrations on his wife. The wife is supposed to protect. The person he promised to care for, to love, and to protect. And then you have a situation where because you are frustrated and you have nowhere to let out your anger, you start unleashing it on your wife. Let's look at his background. What kind of family does the man come from? What is their community like? What are the beliefs of the community with regards to marriage? Do they believe that a man that is authoritative and tyrannical in his house, is that what the community sees as a real man, as a true man, as a true son of his father? You have to look at all these factors and understand where it comes from.
All right.
Now, while I'm stating these factors, I'm not saying that, yeah, he was right, or I'm not trying to justify anything there. I'm just looking at the fact that, you know, when we bring matters here to discuss on the confab, it's about educating the people, letting them know their rights, and letting them know this is what the government should be doing. It's not just the government. This is what communities should be doing. Communities should start raising real men. Communities should not be raising men who believe in repressing their emotions, because when they repress the emotions and it explodes, this is what comes off of it. We need to do better as a society and the community. That's all I have to say about this case.
And now people are also asking questions like, this couple, they have lived for over 25 years in an abusive home. You can imagine that they never thought of separating. They were still together for 25 years. And that really boils down to the same question, to the point Solanke raised. The family, the community, these people have been abusing themselves, you understand? And nobody is saying something. Nobody is asking them, please go your separate ways.
I will come in
Okay,
on that
right.
and give 2 points of views.
Okay.
One, the family's point of view. We don't have any way of saying that the family has not intervened. See, I'm going to just, in short, I don't want to take our time too much, but I'm going to tell you a story, something that happened when I was at Le Foyer Étranger in Togo. That's foreign hostel in Togo. So we had this guy from Imo State University. He had a girlfriend. They said they were engaged to be married. Do you know that every single day since I know of these 2 people, it has been beaten black and blue from this guy to this girl.
And they were still in a dating
And they were still in a relationship. It got so bad that this guy's roommates wanted to deal with him like, how dare you lay your hands on a woman? So they planned to beat him up as a warning. And when this girl found out, do you know she took a knife and held it against her owner, that if this guy should touch her boyfriend, she would kill herself. That he's her husband, he's the head of her house, he's this, he's that, he's those. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what kind of Stockholm syndrome are we dealing with here?
Okay, wrap up the story.
What I'm trying to say is that if you use that analogy, what is to say that it wasn't the wife that discouraged the family from fighting for her? Who knows how many times they have tried to intervene and the wife said, I love him, I'm not going to leave him. Because for a woman to bear 25 years of domestic abuse, well, is it that she's obsessed with the man? That's her point of view. Now, to the family's point of view, is it that they culturally and traditionally still believe that whatever a woman sees in her husband's house is destined? You know, there are some cultures, and you know, these are Yoruba. In the Yoruba culture, we believe so much in predestination and all those things. So, you know, there are still communities and families that believe in that, oh, this is the tribulation that you are destined to bear. When you bear it, that's when, at the end of the day, your husband will change. You know, I've seen situations where they'll say, where is the family that, you know, tells the woman to stay, and they tell her, you have nowhere to go for the sake of your children. So you bore him children. If you leave him and you die and then he marries another wife, your children will not have an inheritance, all those kind of things. That's why I said that the community needs to start doing that. We need to start raising people with good self-esteem. We need to start raising men that understand who they are and understand their responsibility. So those are the 2 POVs on that.
All right, you have actually raised a very important point on that. There are women, honestly, I've come across them. We see them on social media who say they love being abused by their husbands. They love being beaten by their husbands. They enjoy it. And some of them, I think I've seen a woman who said, she was not happy because her husband has never raised a hand on her. And she was asking, could this be a real man? Can this be a real man? How come I've lived with him for over the years?
So that's what
He
I'm
has
saying.
never
Like
raised his
we need
hand
to.
on
There are so
me
many
and all.
factors
I mean,
that led
what
to this
kind of
tragedy.
social, what kind of mindset does such women or do such women have?
I
Where did
think
they grow
Solanke
have
wants
such
to
a-
add something
Okay,
to that.
Solanke as a woman, I think you might have
Well, it depends on individual mindset. Just like how I would like to say, it depends on your school of thoughts, maybe from family background, maybe a woman that grew up with knowing a father beating up his mother, and the mother seems it like, no, he's correcting me, he loves me, that's why he's beating me. So you believe me sincerely that that kind of lady, when she eventually get married, she will also have that believe that, yes, my husband is beating me, that means my husband loves me, that means my husband is correcting me. So I blame it on the background, because in my house, my grandmother will tell me that whenever a boyfriend or husband just slap, ordinary slap, that's the end of the marriage. Because how will you think that beating you is correcting you? Beating you means loving. So it depends. Yeah, it still boils down to the family, to the upbringing, what do you believe, and it also depends on level of exposure. Believe me sincerely, what was the woman waiting for after having 6 children? I even thought maybe after having 1 or 2, then she discovers that the children are SS, she should opt out. But she added to the level of 6. That's the highest level of illiteracy, if you ask me. I'm sorry, but I just have to say it. It's the highest level.
I was about to ask this. Is it really right for, the society, the church, the community, families to, separate couples who have been married for this long after they discover that they are not, or they were not even meant to be together?
It's very okay, if you ask me.
Okay.
Religion has nothing to do with this. This actually has to do with what can we call it? Compatibility. So let's just set aside religions, though it's not good for them to. But what were they looking at before getting married? Did they actually went to do a compatibility test? Do they even know their genotype before getting married?
No, the story says they were not even aware they were carriers of the sickle cell trait, which contributed to the death of their three children. But I believe after the death of the 3 children,
they should know.
That could have been, when they got to realize that maybe, they are sickle cell anemic, we need to go for a test and all. And that is even another thing we really need to look into. Why would people come together, get married in this?
But before we would look into that, I want to disagree with Solanke when she said it's okay for the church or community to separate a couple.
Okay.
No, see.
No, I actually said that religions are parts.
The essence
that I'm actually talking about the biological aspects.
Having free will is that the community at most can intervene by sanctioning the man. That's the best they can do. Sanction him, punish him, put heavy consequences on his head for what he has done. But telling him, separating him and his wife, that has to be what the wife decides by herself.
Okay.
The family, on the other hand, I believe, yes, they have every right to pull their daughter out of there because she is their blood.
Okay, sorry, can
but
I
the
come in
community
there?
should not have anything to do with the separation. They should
what
deal
about-
with the husband, punish him,
Punish the man.
and advise the wife to leave. But they should not physically, move the wife away from the family house or whatever.
All right, Solanke has a different thing to say.
Okay, so what will you say to Ohunayo's case? I don't know if you remember this woman that sang, and she's actually a minister. The husband, I guess, is a pastor. So what will you say to that? The woman lost her life.
She has family. The family should have pulled her out.
So why are we calling them mentors? Because some people actually see their pastors as mentors, as their father, like their godfather. If the community are not doing anything, are you saying that it's wrong for a religious leader?
I said the community
to come
can
into
sanction the man. They could have dealt with the man, punished him. Even
if
they could have written to his place of work, he's an abuser, let him lose his job, let him face consequences. But they don't have the power or the right, and they shouldn't, to take a woman and move her away from a matrimonial house. Because that is going to, I'm telling you that is going to have a blowback in the nearest future that will backfire on a massive scale.
All right.
But our family has the right to do that because they are our family. The man's family even have the right to separate them if they saw that something is going on. Because marriage in Africa is not just between a man and a woman, it's between 2 families.
Yes.
All right, this is here.
Sorry, I would like to add to that.
Okay.
But do you know that there are some men whereby their religious leader have some level of influence over them than even their parents.
Yes, that is true. That is
So
true.
there's no way whereby a religious leader can actually play and come and intervene in such scenarios whereby he can
of course,
actually
we are saying
play
the
a
same
role.
thing.
So aside the family, me, I still believe that a religious leader can actually come in. I agree that the community and the family can actually do that, but a religious leader can also do that also.
It all depends on the couple who they fear
That's
or
it.
respect more.
More.
Yeah, just
That's
like you
just
say,
it.
there are those who respect their ministers, their pastors,
Than
even
even
more
their
than
mother.
their parents. You
Yes.
understand? Okay, that's a very good. But before we wrap it up there, like, what do you really expect the government to do? Do you think Nigerian government is really doing much about this domestic
The
violence?
truth is,
Or are we just, let's just talk about what the government can actually do, even if we think they are not doing much with respect to domestic violence?
well, in Nigeria, the only government organization that I've seen with respect to domestic violence that are really working, that I can say they are working and I can give kudos to, is the Lagos State Domestic Violence Restitution Organization. I've forgotten the full name, LGDSV. Now, I like their approach. They don't take nonsense. So I want that to be adopted across the 36 states in Nigeria. When domestic abusers start facing real consequences and not just a slap on the wrist, because we even see situations where a man will be arrested for domestic violence and it is the police, without even investigating the case, they will not tell the madam, say, madam, now your husband, just accept him like that, you no go do him again. And I will be like, what is going on here? Is this law enforcement? Is this how it's supposed to go? So, like, I want an adoption of mass domestic violence laws, policies, real life consequences,
Stricter punishments.
stricter punishments. That is where the government needs to come in.
All right, that's a quick one there. All right, we move to the very next headline here that says, Minister warns APC against altering Muslim tickets. If you're watching us right now, do well to like, comment, and share. Minister warns APC against altering Muslim ticket. Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, has said any move, hear this, any move to drop Vice President Kashim Shettima ahead of the presidential election in 2027 could negatively affect the All Progressives Congress APC. In an interview on MIC, a podcast hosted by Shehu Akim Baloye, Musawa, who spoke against the backdrop of speculations that the ruling party was considering replacing Shettima with a Christian running mate for President Bola Tinubu in 2027, warned that altering the religious and regional balance of the current ticket could pose electoral risks for the APC. Now the question is it all about APC or about the masses, Nigeria now as a whole? So what do you have to say about this? Coming to you now, Ohunayo Ajiboye, about the warning now coming from the minister himself that dropping the Muslim ticket will pose a threat to APC.
It will.
Okay.
It really will, because the APC, let's forget the shenanigans of the 2023 elections,
Okay.
all the allegations and everything. I don't want to even go into that. But the APC got a significant turnout when it came to voter numbers because of the Muslim ticket. We are not going to lie about that, especially in the north. What that tells us is that identity politics matters more in northern Nigeria than competence or anything. I mean, even there in the south, I remember waking up in the morning. I know during election time, I stayed in different locations all over the southwest, especially in Osun State, Oyo State, and I spent a lot of time in Akure. And mosques kept, the way they painted the president Tinubu, you would think that this man is such a saint, is an angel that came from above. The way religious leaders, Baba, I'm sorry to be speaking my native language on a program like this, but just to paint the picture of what it was like. Every morning I woke up early in the morning to hear Baba, Baba, Oni,
So you believe it was because of
and things
Shettima?
like that. No, the fact that Tinubu himself is a Muslim, one. Shettima is also a Muslim. So it was a novelty for the North. Like, we have the first Muslim candidate. So a lot, I'm not lying to you. In the North, they live and die by what their religious leaders say, even more than what educated people, the enlightened, so-called enlightened ones among them, more than what they say. This person is a professor, is educated, and is telling you this is not going to be good for the development of the land. But once their Islamic clerics tell them this is the way they go, they don't question it. And that's the truth of, that's what the political reality in Nigeria is. Not just in the north, but everywhere else. Identity politics. Look at what is going on now. A lot of people are still identifying, especially in the southwest. A lot of people identify with the Tinubu government, even when it does something wrong, just because, you know, someone once told me, I had a business partner that told me this once, and he said, when he asked me, oh, who was my support leader, and he discovered that I was biased towards Peter Obi, he said, he called me a bastard to the Yoruba race, and I said, you called me a bastard to the Yoruba race? He said, yes. He said, do I not know that our home person will do more for us than an outsider will ever do? That an outsider will do for his tribe. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Tinubu is not president over the Yoruba nation. He's president over Nigeria as a whole. What are you talking about? We should pick a man who is going to do what is best for the nation, not for our tribe. But when you see this mindset, you understand that the Nigerian political reality is that people are playing identity politics. It's not about competence. It's tribalism, identity politics. He is my person, I identify with him, and so my vote goes to him because of that. Not because he's the best person for the job, not because he's going to perform excellently well, but because he is my person. And yes, this undermines national unity. It has already undermined national unity. Nigeria is more fractured right now than it has ever been. It's even more fractured than when the Civil War came up, which is a terrible thing, a terrible piece of history in Nigeria's history that I don't pray that we ever get anything like that. But right now, in terms of identity, Nigeria is even more fractured than even that time.
Well, that's a good one. Solanke, what do you have to say with it?
Yeah, thank you, Chidima. I totally agree with what Ohunayo said. Musawa on statement is actually true. It shows like it reflects political reality. But in the real sense, it reinforces political identity. Believe me sincerely, this thing has been in place for over how many decades now, and it will continue being like that. They are after just the identity. They don't want to know if the person is actually, if the candidate is competent or even reliable to do the job. So far, you are from a certain place, and believe me, the major vote is coming from the northern side. Because they are overpopulated there. So if we should just say, okay, let's change it to Christian Muslim tickets, I'm not sure Tinubu will be able to get people's votes. So
you totally agree with Musawa's statement?
I agree with him. Yes.
Now, but she also said something. She said the absence of a northern Muslim. Now, not talking about just being a Muslim. She said northern Muslims. That's placing that emphasis on the I mean the indigenous.
Okay.
Placing emphasis on the tribe. Now, she said northern Muslim, not Yoruba Muslim or Igbo Muslim. Now, Muslim. She said the absence of a northern Muslim on the ticket could create significant resistance among voters in the region. Do you also agree with that?
I agree with that also. Just like what I said, like this identity politics has played a major role in our election procedures in Nigeria. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so Ohunayo, what do you have to say about her, speculation that it has to be a northern Muslim, not even Yoruba Muslim
it's not a speculation. The northerners in Nigeria have this view of themselves as the rightful rulers of Nigeria. So they always want to ensure, especially the northern Muslims, and this is not to castigate anyone or anything, but they always want to ensure that they have a foot in the corridors of power no matter what. And that's why we need more political education, especially in the southwest and the south and the southeast. You see, one of the strategies those people use is they always try to plug themselves into every political public office that you can find. So as to make it easy, so that there will be no breakage. But for an average southerner, most of the times what we focus on is we focus on ourselves and the competence. And sometimes we forget that aside competence, we do need people. We do need people on our side. So the people that you're supposed to have on your side, you have already disenfranchised them because you were chasing too much competence, while the other ones were playing a game. Politics is a game. It's always going to be a game. They were playing the game. They played dirty. And you were trying to play clean, but they are playing dirty. You can play rough. I'm not saying play dirty, but you can also play rough. You understand? So she's not lying. Everything she said is the truth. Even if I want to play the devil's advocate, I can't play the devil's advocate against the facts.
So what's the way forward right now?
The way forward is that Nigerians,
yes,
especially in the north, Because this person talking is educated.
Yes.
She's enlightened. She knows that this, in the long run, is not good for the North itself. It's not good for the development of the North. But she's saying this because that's the reality on ground. Rather than standing against it or educating her people against it, she's reinforcing it because she thinks it's going to give her an advantage if she also wants to contest for a political position in the future. She's reinforcing it for herself. That's just the truth. And that's where we have the problem in Nigeria. The way forward is that we all have to educate ourselves and start thinking not in terms of our personal interest or tribal interest, but in terms of national interest. Because you see, if this country works for one, if it works, like Nigeria becomes a true and capable working system, we're going to be a threat to the world powers. This is not speculation. This is something that I am very, very confident in, that if this country should become a country with a working system, we won't take long before we come on par with countries like the US, China, Germany, the 5 world powers. There will be a 6th world power all the way from Africa, and that's Nigeria. Only if everyone, the North, the South, the East, we all come together and we start working collectively towards the good of national interest. Thank you.
That's a good one. If Nigeria works for one, it means it works for all. All right, that's where we'll be wrapping it up on that very headline. We have another one because of our time. We have another headline here that says, Discourse, that's distribution companies. Discourse rejects federal government free meter plan. This is weird from the headline. How would a distribution company reject a free plan proposed by the government? Discourse rejects federal government free meter plan. Now, power distribution companies have expressed doubts. You see where their rejection is coming from. They have expressed doubts. They don't believe the federal government over the directive by the Minister of Power, Ajiboye, that prepaid meters must be free for all categories of customers. Now, the operators who spoke with our correspondents anonymously due to the sensitivity of the matter said the minister made only a political statement. Hear this. Made only a political statement without considering the input of other stakeholders, especially the installers and meter providers. Now, this is a story. The minister said they are not going to be paying for meter again. That's customers will no longer be paying for meter installations again. But then, they did not pay for the meter installation. They did not give any money to Discourse. This is the money you people will be using to install for customers. They just made a political statement. And on the surface, it appeared so exciting, you know, so appetizing.
So on whose account?
Exactly, on whose account? Now, the Disco company is coming out to say, on whose account? On whose purse? I mean, who is going to pay the bills? Who is going to sponsor it? You can't just make that political statement and then without any financial, you know, this is what I say. Now, let's just come over to this. Ohunayo, Ajiboye, what do you have to say?
I would like the lady to go first there.
Well, I would like to say that if the governments are actually serious about this meter being free, they should be planning in place.
They should be planning in place.
Because Fashola already stipulated Disco's duty, because he already removed the meter installation from their own jurisdiction. So I see it as, if truly the government wants us to see it as a goodie, like a good thing coming to us, there should actually be a structure whereby a commission will be put in place, or there will be a certain money that will be issued out to the people that will be doing the installation and all. It won't be on Disco, since it has been removed, it has been separated from their responsibility. So the government doesn't expect Disco should be the one to sponsor the installation, since they were not being paid for that.
Okay, do you really see part of government when they made that promise? I'm
not sure. That's what I'm saying. If truly they want, that's why I put it in quote. If truly they want us to see it as a way of, maybe it's another tactic, because they said, just like how what's his name said it on our last confab, that politics has to do with strategy. Yeah, I actually see it as another strategy to bamboozle the masses.
But on the contrary, I believe it, since this prepaid meter saga started, you know, since the year prepaid meters were introduced, it has always been that the government has always announced that the prepaid meters are for free. But, you know, what we always get is that the Discos, back then they were PHCN before they changed to discos. They were PHCN, Power Holding Company of Nigeria, from NEPA to
PHCN
PHCN. It was during PHCN era that we started getting prepaid meters. You know, you always have to pay. In fact, we were even hearing cases that some of these PHCN officials will now go behind the back of the person that already paid for a prepaid meter, remove his prepaid meter and go and sell to someone else. You know, those kind of things that happen. And you know, the federal government kept announcing that it's free, it's free, it's free. I think the problem was that there was no enforcement. So there's now a rot in the power distribution among the discos. There's a rot at a systemic level there now, and now they think that demanding money for everything is what is best. Now listen to what Adelabu said. He said that the meters were procured under the World Bank funded distribution sector recovery program, which means that these meters are already paid for.
They already paid for, but the story
We're
says
talking about the installation
the
now.
people who will be installing
The payment
this,
covers both the distribution and the installation. I mean, at the end of the day, when these people start paying for their light, the money is not going to the government's pockets. It's going into the disco's pockets. So what are we talking about?
So are you saying the disco's companies are
The
the
installation
ones to
should be free.
Provide people. I mean, those people that are going to install it. Is it disco that will provide those persons?
Yeah, it's part of their job. It's part of what they are being paid for.
Fashola already separated
saying
it.
it is not part of their
It's not part.
responsibility. If the government must make it free, as they already said, they should provide people by themselves that will install it.
Yes, no. Or they should even come out and tell us that disco, you've been paid for it. So they are not saying anything. And initially, Fashola already separated it.
And
so it's not their responsibility
And
to
since they
install.
said the World Bank has already funded it, then they should give discos their own quota.
Yeah.
So that disco will now know that from this day onward, we are now saddled with the responsibility
Of the
funding
installation.
the installations. I don't know whether you got the picture now.
Yeah.
Okay. If that is the case, then I believe that what is needed is a clarification from both
That's
the
just
Minister
it.
of Power and
That's just it.
They should sit down and discuss this and hash it out and stop confusing Nigerians if that is the case.
Me, I just see it as another strategy.
Because
if you
the
ask
minister,
me. Because if
the
truly
minister is
they paid
announcing,
for it.
the minister, that is Adelabu, is announcing that both the meter and the installation is free.
Then where is the money? Why did they only pay for the meters and did not pay
for the installation?
And that's why I'm saying that the government and the discos have to come out together and they have to do a joint press conference where they explain what is going on to Nigerians and stop giving us this back and forth.
Exactly.
They have to do the explanation because we don't know who to believe right now.
Exactly. All right, our viewers at home, I believe you're enjoying the ongoing conversation on the Confab. Do well to like, leave a comment for us in the comment section and share. All right, before we wrap up the show, it looks like our time is just flying. I would like my analyst just to give a parting remark. I'll be starting with Solanke. What's your parting remark to our viewers there?
All right. Esteemed viewers, I did like to say this, that even if I know that most of our domestic violence agency are doing a great job out there because I do see their publicity, let's endeavor whenever you're not feeling comfortable in that marriage. Marriage is not a do or die affair, and I'm advertising or advocating for divorce, but I believe it's better to be a divorcee than being late. Please, let's endeavor to flee when we see any threats in our marriages.
All right, thank you. Ajiboye.
Well, just buttressing on what she has said, she has advised those who are victims of domestic violence. I would like to tender my advice to the family. You know, your daughter, your son, your child is going through domestic violence. Please don't tell them to bear it as a burden. Protect them. Protect them. Get them out of there as fast as you can. And for the community leaders, religious leaders, when you see something is wrong, don't base it on, don't play favorites. Don't play favorites. Don't try and advise them that it's God's will. Don't do that. Talk to the man, talk to the abuser. And if the abuser refuses to listen, let them face real consequences. In the church, you can remove their privileges as a member of that church. If they're a deacon, remove them from that post, discipline them. Then write to their workplace, let this man lose their job and stuff like that. That's when they will stop that nonsense, when it starts having serious consequence against them. And they know they can no longer get away with it. You will see, they will change. Those are the things we're talking about. And not only that, when it comes to this thing, Nigerians collectively, we are going into 2027. Election discussions are already underway. Like we discussed about Anatu Musawa. We that we went to school, that we are educated, Western education, and we have seen the light, so to say. It is time we start educating our people to start working towards national interest. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. That was a quick one. On this note, we wrap it up on the Confab. Don't forget that Confab will still be coming your way tomorrow, same time, same station, Esteem Radio Vision. To our viewers, we want to say a very big thank you to you for choosing Esteem Radio Vision. We also want to appreciate our CEO in the person of Deacon Michael Adeboye Shaolu, the founder of Eniakbonle Foundation and Esteem Radio Vision, and also our producer, Ayomikun. Thank you so much. To my analysts, thank you. I look forward to having you two again and again. Until I come your way again, I still remain Chidima Abel. But don't forget, for sponsorship on advert placement, you can always contact us on 0916-634-9956. You can also follow us on our social media handles on Facebook at Esteem Radio Vision, on YouTube at Esteem Studio. Thank you so much.